Hello, everyone in, I guess, internet land or podcast land or whatever land. Welcome to another Kuile Courageous Conversations. I think we're going to do this two ways. We're going to have our regular podcast for this one, and we're going to do like a video version because, we really have no idea what we're doing. Anyway, my name is Sheldon from Kapiolani Community College's Kuile Outreach Program.
And I'm Alfie, the other half of the Kool-Aid Outreach team. And, we've been using Korean Courageous Conversations to showcase a lot about KCC. And one of the things we really, really love and really, really appreciate is the awesome and amazing students that we have here at KCC. So if you've been following us on our podcast and our programs, first of all, thank you again for downloading and listening. You hear about our students who've came to KCC, graduated, and are doing amazing things. But we also have students who are still at KCC doing awesome and amazing things. What do you think, Sheldon?
Yeah, it's always so great to see what our students are doing on our campus, and whether they know it or not, they're highly influential. And so, never mind, I've been here for some odd years. It's our students that are the game changers that make things happen on our campus. And so it's always very impressive to see they're what they're capable of doing and doing wonderful things to our campus and for our students. It's just super cool.
So, with that said, Sheldon, we have some amazing students who are part of, I guess you could say, the leadership of one of our major organizations on campus, the Associated Students of Kapiolani Community College. So please join us in welcoming Tim, Jenny, and Shawna from Student Congress.
Yay!
I forgot to activate our little hand clapping thing, but that's okay.
Or the blowhorn thing.
The blowhorn.
So if you folks don't mind introducing yourselves and perhaps sharing your roles with in our student leadership.
Hello, I'm Shawna and I'm first year. I'm the president for the next semester of Student Congress. It's nice to meet everybody.
Hey guys, my name is Jenny. I'm the vice president of Student Congress. I'm studying natural science and it's nice to be on here.
I'm Tim Lum. I'm studying computer science in the ASNS ICT program, and I am treasurer this upcoming year for Student Congress.
Yay! So what do you guys have in store for our students? Because school starts soon.
Well, we have our monthly newsletters that are coming out just on general information that students should know. So it should be August and September newsletter, as well as it's very exciting because this has been ongoing for a year, and finally we're making legwork. Is that the word?
Sure.
Hotspots for the general student population, which is a big deal. So we're working on purchasing those and getting those out for distribution. The library will be loading those out for fall semester. So I'm very excited to see those finally reach students and really address the technology need for it, since everything's turning more online. People need reliable internet access.
When you folks are serving students, what are some of the things you're finding students need going into this new academic year?
Well, in our last semester, we did a spring survey to gauge what students need. And we found that the most common sources of struggles for students were financial issues, school workload, food insecurity, and, as Jenny was saying, technology, which is why we were doing the hotspots. And there were a lot of different issues, but those are the main ones that we're trying to work on.
Actually, even before that, if we can even backtrack just a little bit, if someone asks, what is Student Congress? What do you all say to that? So we're talking about these issues. Students might have gotten a survey from Student Congress, but there might be students out there thinking, what exactly is this group and what do they do? So let's start with that.
I think a quick answer would be we're the advocates for the students. We are the buffer really in between administration and staff and to the students, and it goes back and forth from the students to KCC, as well as from KCC to the students. So we're basically, in a way, keeping our ears to the ground, consistently trying to understand, what students need in order to succeed, to help KCC or in any way to better, I guess, the operations or anything that could possibly help students succeed.
Are there positions open that you still need to fill for Congress?
Yes, we have two positions that aren't filled right now, but for public relations, that one is pending. And we also have secretary open, which has nobody going for it yet.
Most fun position.
So how does one apply or get involved with Student Congress?
To apply for the position for the to apply for the position for student congress, you would email our advisor Roymn. So it'll be ROYMN@hawaii.edu.
I'll definitely put it in the description. For students who are a little bit shy with signing up, like what do you tell those who maybe have done leadership in their younger years or maybe are a little bit nervous about putting themselves out there? What can you share with those to perhaps attract more to sign up for Congress?
I'd say this year is a fantastic year out of any, because not only are Jenny and I second and third year into Student Congress, so we kind of have the system down pretty well. We have a strong team, Shawna being a great new president, but as well as it's perfect for students who are shy, who haven't been able to get themselves out there that much, because there's a lot of development, a lot of like leadership development. It helps you, I'd say, even with your classes, because you get to know the staff so much more, and it makes you more comfortable by interacting with staff. So it's just wins all around, definitely.
Just to add on what Tim was saying, our past advisor Shannon, she had this really good saying: is as long as you're motivated and you're willing to try, because we're not looking for someone that's like a 5.0 GPA who is like really, really up there, but just as long as you try and you're motivated, we can work with that. Like you can work with that. This is totally possible, and you never know what you can gain from working with Student Congress.
So you may have students who are non-traditional, because typically that's what community college is for their student population. We have more of your, what they call non-traditional age students. So what do you say to those who may think, oh, those clubs, that's for the younger students? So what can you say to that?
I'm 34.
That's still young.
You're still young, Tim. Come on.
I
That's
don't
still-
know, man. Every year, more and more, No, I'd say it's definitely for anybody. I'd say even the students who are non-traditional, who are returning adults, they have value in so many other ways, so many different ways, like to give to the school, all the experience that they have. And if you say I'm young, then I mean, that's awesome, because I have so much more to grow. Right. And yeah, I could definitely, I'm sure any of us in Student Congress would love and appreciate learning from, others in different areas who've worked in different areas of life. So I think it's exciting.
So what do you say to those students who want to get involved or engaged with the campus, but they're hesitant to join Student Congress? Are there other opportunities for students to get involved at KCC?
Yes, there are a lot of different ways to get involved in KCC. There's BOSA, the Board of Student Activities, and there's BOSP, and there's OSA, and there's just a lot of different ways that students can join organizations to get involved in the campus. BOSA throws fun events, and BOSP, the student publication, and OSA is of course like really important in making like our campus go around, like giving out bus passes, student IDs, and OSA does a lot of things. There's just a lot of ways, and there's Rios, just a bunch of different ways to get more involved in campus.
So again, all through Roman, right? They can reach out to her and they can kind of get the ball rolling on some things if they're kind of curious.
Roman would probably be the most direct, but of course, any of us can be contacted, and then we can facilitate that message.
Perfect.
But Roman is a really good hub point as far as information.
So I guess the other question too is like, why is it important to get involved when you're in college?
Well, by getting more involved in campus, you can, make bonds with people during your campus life. You can also learn more about campus, like going through like all of these student organizations, you can figure out more about what's available to you on campus and more about just how the campus works, which can be really beneficial to students. And it just gets you more engaged with being a part of like this campus and your education and everything. I feel like it's beneficial to like anybody who decides to try and get a little bit more involved.
Thanks, Shawna. That's a really good question. Just to add on what she was saying, there's the like self-development part where, you not only know more people, but you learn like soft skills. Like I didn't know how to really write an email. Like who knew that writing like 4 paragraphs in an email is not that good. Another aspect of it is, I guess what really motivated me to join was that like I would just be another person complaining on campus, like, why doesn't the school have this? Why doesn't the school have this? So by being involved in a CSO or chartered student organization, such as Board of Student Activities or Student Congress, you really get your voice out there and you really can advocate for other people, because it ended up being like, oh, someone else is complaining about this, but now you know who to really complain to.
I think, yeah, all around, those are both great answers. And in my opinion, those lead up to the biggest point of why we're going to college, right? It's, I'd say, either money or a career, purpose in what we're trying to do. And I can only imagine, like I've heard that people change their major so many times. I have friends who've gotten majors in things that they don't even use. And I think by getting involved, you get to have mentorship as well as learn about all these other things that the college has to offer, as well as career choice, like just experience so many different things that helps you to hone in quicker. And so you're not wasting your time or your money or a degree. So then it really helps you out to align yourself on that right path. Whereas, yeah, I mean, like if I came to college in my early 20s, I didn't do anything. I just did whatever I thought I wanted to do, then I'd probably end up being one of those people. But now in my 30s, I know exactly what I want to do. So it's a little bit different. But or if it's just straight up for money, then I think it definitely can help you to figure out or learn more about what are the high paying jobs. Like you get to network with people who are really successful, work on cool projects, like this podcast. And otherwise you wouldn't have gotten these opportunities. And I think it's very valuable.
Where do you see Congress, or what kind of impact do you see Congress doing for the campus?
Yeah, I definitely want to say, like when I first started in Congress, like because I love entrepreneurship, I love business, and I couldn't wrap my head around what Student Congress was. But then I kind of like, after learning more about it, it's kind of like an entrepreneur sandbox, with the goal of helping students to succeed. Student Congress gets a budget every year, and those in Student Congress figure out how to utilize that budget the best in order to help students. And to me, that's what it felt like. You can think of all these different ideas and do all these cool things to help students. And the cool part is that there's a survey consistently that gathers data to help you to see, like where you have succeeded, where you could work on a little bit more. I'd say the only downfall is that since it's per year, often the maximum that you can be in Student Congress is maybe about 2 to 3 years. I mean, unless you want to keep going to KCC, which is cool too. But so there is a difficulty cap because it's not a consistent crew, working for 5 to 10 years on this one really big project. And often because of how the system is, checks and balances, projects do take a bit of time. But as far as the things that we've done, it's really cool to see, and we've heard about past groups that like did the UPass, and facilitated these really life-changing things for certain students. But yeah, sorry, I kind of forgot what the question was. So I just went off.
Don't worry, Tim. I thought too. I'm like, wait, what was the question again?
Maybe it's because I'm the old one in the group. I may have forgotten what I asked, but
I gotta take my Adderall today.
But you brought up an interesting term, life-changing. And so going back to the survey you mentioned, it sounds like you guys are implementing life-changing initiatives. And so let's talk about that. And so moving forward to fall 2022, what kind of, not to make it heavy, but what kind of life-changing initiatives do you guys have planned for our students? Like technology issues, some basic needs issues. Let's touch on that. Like what kind of plans do you hope to see unfold for this upcoming semester?
I think one that's because I'm running it as well, but also kind of important to me is in terms of, I guess, school workload, but also financial issues. We're going to be doing adulting classes.
Oh,
You know? Something that, you know, in the household that I was raised in, uh, my parents never really taught me anything in terms of how to live on my own, what it's like to be an adult. You know, very Asian household, so we didn't really talk a whole lot, and it's kind of more. They taught me how to work hard, which is great. But there's so much more than that. Like, you know, taxes, what things you should prepare for in certain parts of life, or even you know, like conflict resolution, you know, like communication, whether it's in business or in relationships. You know, I think that's a really important part in terms of like core skills that you need to build on. So I like to believe that that's something that would be life changing for students who attend.
no, I was going to say I should sign up because I still need to figure out what it's like to be an adult. Anyway, Shawna.
And another big problem we're trying to tackle is food insecurity. We're working on these workshops that we're going to use in order to teach people budget-friendly meals that they can use for the rest of their lives. And we're trying to give them food and just engage them in an interactive way to learn more cheap recipes that they can use. Because a lot of people on campus struggle with food problems. A lot of people said that they skipped at least one meal in a week. And we're trying to make it so that people are able to get healthy, nutritious meals without needing to have like a bunch of like money. And through these workshops, we hope to give people like a better base for like easy recipes that they can use in order to always have a good meal for the rest of their lives.
Any other life-changing initiatives coming up?
Yeah, so for technology, this was actually an issue we looked into addressing because we surveyed it last year. Like, what are your needs? And technology was, I think, probably the top 5 or something. So
Wow.
we tried working on how do we address it. So we got laptops, but another thing was you need reliable internet to access your homework or whatever you need. So we
That's
looked
right.
into getting hotspots. And the thing about the school is it takes like a couple of years or a pretty long time to do anything, like requesting something. So finally it's coming through. So I'm like, praise the Lord, it's finally coming through. So I'm very excited about that because it took a lot of legwork, just not only from our exec team, but it has to go through this whole process. And another thing is we're working with upgrading campus maps. So those campus maps near the parking lot, they look a little withered. So we're looking at upgrading those. We're working with Ralph. I don't know if I can shout him out, but thank you so much, Ralph. And another thing with addressing school workload is we're also going to be at the summer camp talk. I don't know if we want to advertise this. We can advertise this.
Of course you can.
I don't know if you guys can explain. Can you guys explain summer camp just in general better? Because I don't want to mess it up. And
it's just a really cool way of learning new things, building up your professional toolkit to move forward. And so how are you folks involved?
Beautiful, thank you. So we're actually going to be there for a session. We signed up and we're going to talk to everyone about instructional design. So think of like how La Lima and how students learn from that. And we're just sharing our like casual sit down on our opinion on what would make it an engaging platform.
That's cool. So adding more like a student guided conversation on how to make those sites more engaging. Brilliant.
Wait. So we have students giving a presentation on how to make things more effective for students.
How about that?
Who would have thought of that?
Who would have thought? How did you guys decide to put your name in the hat for this summer camp?
I think it had to do. It started off with the La Lima site. Was that where it started? And I guess it started off with school workload because the worry of all the different stressors that we could potentially influence to help to make the system more effective. And I guess one thing that I've consistently kind of had a complaint, a gripe about was how each professor would consistently have a different system in terms of how to just do things, and sometimes, yeah, there wouldn't always be like a clear cut way or like clear cut deadlines. So there, I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty on it student, but I would miss some assignments.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just because I'm taking on too much, but at the same time, it wasn't always clear. So we talked to Yushin, I believe.
Yep.
Yushin
Yushin and Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie. And then so from there, I think we were invited to talk more.
This is so awesome. I mean, we have students advocating for students, talking about student issues. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So here we are with our student congress for this upcoming academic year. The goal is to have these updates every month to just kind of share with our campus, our community, of course, our students on all these opportunities that are coming from the student voice, and also provide an opportunity for students to also get involved, because like they were saying, there's still positions open, there's still opportunities to be change agents on our campus. But for you three out there, any final words to our listeners and our viewers?
Well, I just want to say that I'm going to do my best to try and help everything out for students. This is my first semester, like
All
officially
right.
being a part of Student Congress. And I just want everybody to know that me and everybody in Student Congress, Tim and Jenny, are going to try really hard with these initiatives to improve the student experience at Kapiolani Community College. And that if anyone's interested, they should totally try and get involved too.
I would say that if you have something around campus that you thought, man, I wish our school had this, but I don't know who to talk to, please email us. So our email is capccsc@hawaii.edu. So kapccsc@hawaii.edu, because we really want to hear from you guys, because we're working for you guys. So yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast.
I mean, Shawna and Jenny pretty much said it all. The only thing I feel like I would like to say is that I think Jenny and I both came into KCC in the middle of the pandemic. So, we didn't get the pleasure of being able to see and meet and work with all of their classmates nearly as much. And Shawna, I guess, was you as well too, right? But we're excited to see everybody hopefully soon, little by little, more and more. And yeah, say hi if you see us.
Well, I think we can't thank you folks enough for being out there. We really appreciate all your time and energy. And for you folks listening and watching, stay tuned for next month's posting. But thanks for tuning in.